Hi, and welcome to Organizing Life's Daily Demands. My name is Peter Gordon, and I'm the president of New York Financial Organizers. We help people pay their bills, file insurance claims, kind of do all the non-investment side of personal finance, essentially helping them organize their lives' daily demands. The purpose of this podcast is to introduce our viewers and listeners to other professionals who help organize life's daily demands. And with that said, I'm very happy to introduce Laverne Wilson-Valis of Elder Friends. Good morning, Laverne. How are you today?
I'm good, Peter. Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first and foremost, I really think this is a fantastic vehicle that you're using to connect the audience with various services out there because I think it's well needed. And I say that because I'm coming from a public service industry. I did 23 years in law enforcement. And I'm happily, I would say, transitioning.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I did. And I call it transitioning and not retiring because I am retired from NYPD. And it's good. This is a good vehicle for me because while working, I had New York City as my gamut of education, I would say. I entered pretty relatively early in my 30s. And with that, when you're coming from civilian life, which I would call anyone who's not in public service civilians, you get to experience New York City unlike any other. And it could also be a shell shock. And so my first exposure, which every person in law enforcement, you have to so-called respond to jobs. And while responding to jobs in various neighborhoods, what I encountered were elderly people who, for some reason, died in their apartment alone. Responded to them in need and they didn't have any family members. So this is something we're all exposed to. And while the exposure is there, you literally come in, sometimes someone passed away and for days, and then you learn the stench of it's called a DOA. And you learn all these things. And then there's a form of empathy that you get because you're like, while you're living your life, here are these people living their lives. So that has stuck with me throughout my career. And once I retired, I had various exposures to family members in situations that got me into eldercare. And so what I ultimately did was then became a senior advisor. It's called a certified senior advisor. Oh. And additionally, I became a certified dementia practitioner. And these things, I think, aid me in providing the service to those that I was first experienced in my early career in law enforcement.
That's great. Well, that's a fascinating background. And, we know each other from an organization called Orion Resource
Group. Mm-hmm.
Orion's Resource Group. And within that, we have, 150 people who are in the senior service industries. And all of their backgrounds are fascinating. And yours just jumped to the top because I really didn't know. But I think we all have experience some way or another with the elderly.
Yes.
Very often it's family. I think it's fascinating. In your case, it was on the job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's just one form of it on the job because you experienced that early on because you're young. So that's not something that you're really thinking about elderly people. But additionally, as you age and you experience life, things happen in your personal life. And so additionally, my dad was passing and my mom had to take care of him. And then again, looking at that experience as a caregiver, seeing how daunting it is. She worked the midnight shift. She came home at 7 a.m. And when you have a loved one that's ill, they don't want anyone to take care of them but that mate. It's a connection as husband and wife. And so she, I believe, felt obligated to take care of him. But you see the strain that it puts on a caregiver.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah. And that was my introduction to the world of senior care, is taking care of my helping my mother take care of my dad, along with my brother and my sister. And then after he passed, helping my mom.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people are introduced to it that way. So tell us a little bit about Elder Friends.
Okay. Elder Friends is my company. I found it after experiencing all these changes in life, or I would say growing pains in life. I founded Elder Friends. And what I did was I became New York City, and I just got it last week. No, actually, I just got it a couple days ago. New York State certified MWBE. Yay!
Excellent.
So I'm excited, truly, truly excited about that because.
And tell us what that is.
Okay, so
not everybody knows.
Yes. So New York City, first you get New York City, you can go New York State. But what this is allowing me to do is actually do business with the city. And now,
again, what does it stand for?
MWBE is Minority Women Owned Business. Now, minority could be ethnicity or women owned. It doesn't vary. But the fact of the matter is the city has did their due diligence with your company. And the state now has done their due diligence with my company and has said, you are certified for us to do business with you. So it's really a very detailed process, and you can bid on contracts to work with the agent, Department of Aging, any projects that they have, you have the opportunity, and they really do look for small companies such as myself to give us this opportunity because they know it's difficult going up against the big giants.
Right.
So New York City, New York State, they want to help small business, and I am very fortunate to get those.
That's wonderful. That's great news.
Yes. So I'm super excited about that. And additionally, what we do, we're certified SAGE trainers, practitioners, and what that is the LGBTQ community. I went and got certified because we look at aging as a whole group. But within that group, there are small pockets, and the LGBTQ pocket really is underserved, and they have a lot of fear in them in who's going to come in and assist them. So we have this certification, and that's to let them know we understand, we know what you're going through, and there's empathy, and we know how to address when dealing with someone in that pocket of group of people.
That's
and the
fascinating.
thing,
that's great.
Yeah, it's really good and it's meaningful to me. We're also not a franchise. We're small business. We're not a franchise. We're private pay. And I say that why? Because when you're dealing with a franchise, and not to speak ill about them, but there is a sense of not getting that personalized service because you may just go through or maybe part of a phone call rotation. And so I really am proud of the fact that we are small business and we're going to offer a personalized service and a connection, a real voice, so to speak, that you're going to get to speak to.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, there are a lot of companies out there in your space. Yeah.
Yes, tons. And we service Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island. And we try to get this pocket area because there's a large concentration in Brooklyn, in Queens, Long Island, of people aging in place, or if not aging in place, in need. So these are our areas of concentration.
Right. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the different services you offer, right? And I'll also talk about the home care aides.
So as Elder Friends, what we do here, we are here to provide service to those who wish to age in place. And aging in place does not necessarily mean staying in their home. You can age in place at a facility, and our health aides will go with you to that facility for your comfort, because we all have to just take it in mind. Even if any of us have to go to the hospital, we are away from our home, and that's a feeling of discomfort. So imagine having to move from your home into a residence, regardless of how gorgeous it is or what services provided, you need a sense of comfort. So our home aides, we will go there with you, and we will go there and be your escort and companion, because you still may, if the facility doesn't offer, or if you feel that you want your primary, you want to go there, we will escort and we will be a companion for you throughout the day. And that's for comfort. But in general, what we do, we help relieve the stress of you, the client, and the caregiver. Because as I said prior, the caregiver, you can't eliminate them from the equation.
No.
You can't. And you can't think that even though they may be in the 40s and caring, that they're able-bodied, because they have their own lives. And additionally, the stress of that compounds their family. So we're here to support everyone in need. And what we do as far as the services are concerned, we do the companion care. We can do it in the residence. And that companion care in the residence may consist of meal prep, light housekeeping. Then we do the escort while at the residence. You may have to go to dialysis, or you may have to go to a doctor's appointment. You may have to go to rehab for therapy. And we do that escort. And now, if you cannot stay in your residence, what are we going to do? We're going to help support the family free of charge in looking for a facility that's going to be best suited for your needs, your current needs. Because for some reason you can't stay at home, and maybe that you're going to be a danger to yourself, and you may need someone to look after you, or maybe you're too lonely and your family and you may feel you need a more cohesive environment that have a lot of activities. And so we're going to help assist you in that search. Go on the tours with you, sit with you, just not put you with someone that's going to just spiel everything to you and you don't understand, because it's an overwhelming experience, but sit there and be a partner with you.
Well, with your background, you know these different facilities, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I tried my best to tour separate from the client, because I feel if I'm going to recommend, I have to really see the nuts and bolts of how this facility works, see the staffing that's there, staffing that's going to be available, and actually the cleanliness, right? Because everyone can put a good show. And I have gone to some places that I'm like, oh my God, it's heartbreaking. And this is a place that I would not have on my list, no matter what the financial ability is of the client to pay or whatever it is, because I wouldn't even put my own there. So
yeah. I mean, just because I know I've had that experience, just because you're paying a fair amount of money doesn't mean it's a great place.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
No. And tell us about some of your clients.
I receive a majority of my clients through referrals, because I think word of mouth is one of the greatest tools, because that's speaking highly of you. And also the fact that my business is certified by the city and the state, it also gives those looking or seeking help a sense of confidence. They're like, well, if the city is going to work with this person, he has to be trusted. And in the elder care space, there is a great need of trust, because that trust has been broken so many times. You don't know where to go. And when you're first put into this daunting situation, all you have at your fingertips is Google.
Yeah.
And that's all you have. So you're going to Google, and then based on whatever comes up. So our clients are really referrals. We are on Google. You can search us, Elder Friends Concierge Services, and you're going to find us, and then we're going to sit down with you and give you that trust. But primarily the clients that we try to seek are those who are just coming out of a rehab facility and they have to go home. Now, sometimes the rehab facility may contact me and say, this person is going to be discharged. However, their resident, they were a previous hoarder or a slight hoarder. And therefore, I will have someone who will go in, clean the apartment, get it ready, where the social worker may say, okay, now we can release that person.
Right.
Okay. Additionally, as I said, doctor's appointments, anyone aging at their home, anyone recently released from the hospital. So it's called transition care. If you were just discharged and you're at home, you may need someone to first few days get those pills in order. Make sure there's food there, because your caregivers may not necessarily be in New York. They could be in Oregon, Minnesota, and they want to make sure mom is going to be okay. So we will do form of a wellness check, just get everything in order. And then usually the clients are in the later ages, 80 on plus, because after 80 is when the ailments, true medical ailments, start coming on. And so a lot of our clients are in their 80s. But, we take everyone, because at some point you may need assistance and you may not have. I had a client the other day called me from New Jersey, and she had to go to the hospital for an appointment. So she wanted to know if we could escort her, because of the appointment, like a colonoscopy. They're not going to release you unless there's someone there to go with you. And then we'll just do the transport with her back to Jersey. And so those kind of services. So it's a gamut, but it's a variety of people that we service. And there's not to say at any one particular age.
And were you able to do that in Jersey?
Yes, because all it is, she comes to her appointment in Manhattan.
Right.
And I have my person go to the hospital, wait for her, sit. She gets discharged. We take a Uber back with her. However your mean of transportation is, we're there for you.
Sure. That's great. That's great, because you didn't mention Jersey in the beginning, but that makes perfect sense.
Yes. If we get a call like that via, inquiry, yes, that's something we can do. Sure.
Right. Yeah, no, our business is also more, 95% referral based.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's been, the way we've met through the Orion Resource Group from other professionals. And,
yes.
And that makes that trust that you talked about so important. If the referral's from a trusted advisor,
mm-hmm.
then there's a lot more ease in making that decision.
Yes, and I think it's important, again, because if you want to differentiate, call in, I don't want to name other companies, but if you call a random company that's promoted marketing on television, and you think you're going to get that person because they sound so trusting in the commercial, that's not the case. What they're going to do is farm your number out to 7 different home health aid play, and they're all going to call you. So where's the trust there?
Yeah, no, that system is very problematic.
Yes, it is. And that's why you need that trust, because you don't know who you're getting, and there's no knowledge, and you feel like, okay, this is who they sent me. Now I got to talk to them. But the phone calls don't stop after one.
No.
And they don't stop after 1 month. It can continue for a while until you say, listen, stop calling. I'm fine.
Right. And your service is not biased towards one particular facility.
No.
You look at all, and that what you're talking about is people are calling from a facility and just trying to sell you on that. And it's unfortunate that that's part of the system. So
it is.
You're aware of it.
The market is growing. And that's the thing. The market is growing. And so I think, again, in our field, there is a great need of trust. And if you can get it from organizations and from podcasts such as this, putting the word out, that's just the best way to educate people. Because if you educate, there's some form of information out there.
Yeah. So, if you're not involved in this industry, it was like when my father first became ill, we were dizzy, man. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know where to turn. And as you said in the beginning about this podcast, the purpose of the podcast and the videos are to help educate people. Of course, they have to get here in the first place, and that's not necessarily easy.
That's true.
But we're working on that. So anyway, Laverne, this has been a wonderful interview. I really appreciate you spending the time.
Of course.
And so what's the best way for people to reach you?
The best way, you can contact me via my phone number, or you can go on the website. I have a Candly link there. You can email me. I call you back, and you can actually get a good idea of who we are as a company by visiting the website, which is enhanceaging.com, enhaseaging.com, and you will see a picture of me and all.
And a video.
Yes, and the video is going to be there. So again, the good connection of, hey, I saw her, here she is, here he is, and again, we are 2 people married offering services to those, whether it's financial, elder care, guidance. We're here. It's the same vehicle.
That's wonderful. And that information will be below the video and also in the podcast screen. So thank you very much, Laverne. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Anytime, Peter.